Welcome to the Intimate Marriage Podcast, where I teach educated, successful couples how to have incredible, passionate relationships so that you can stop compromising and start feeling fully alive in your relationship. I'm Alexandra Stockwell, aka the Intimacy Doctor. I'm a physician, a relationship and intimacy coach, and I'm an intimate marriage expert. My husband and I have been married for 27 years. We have 4 children and full professional lives, and we've created an amazing marriage. I've shown hundreds of couples how to do so as well. So if you want to deepen your understanding of your own relationship and learn to access new heights of emotional, sensual, and erotic intimacy, you're in the right place. I will show you how. Now, let's dive in. When you think back to last December and Decembers before that, do you have memories of feeling closer to your partner? More disconnected? Just generally neutral and everything the same? What kinds of memories do you have of this season in years gone by? Before I dive into that question a little further, I want to talk with you about the masterclass I did last November. There's a woman who attended, and what she said is this. This is a masterclass on uncompromising intimacy. I came away from the masterclass feeling very encouraged by Dr. Stockwell. It made me feel grateful for what I have despite the struggles we have. Since the masterclass, I have hugged my husband daily, sometimes at the most unexpected times. I have made clear requests, and he has been happy to help me with what I asked for. I continued my effort to share my experience with more vulnerability, and in just days after the masterclass, we are communicating so much more meaningfully, with less defensiveness and more connection. I'm so grateful that this woman chose to share this with me and gave me permission to share it with all of you, though I'm even more excited that she gets to have this experience now, and her husband does as well because she attended the masterclass. And the reason that I'm sharing this is because today, as this podcast drops, it's December 13th, 2023, and tomorrow on December 14th, 2023, I'm doing another masterclass. I'm super excited. It's called Holiday Passion, the art of uncompromising intimacy amidst crazy year-end schedules and stress. So if you're listening today, the day this episode drops, be sure to sign up. If you're listening tomorrow, the day the masterclass actually happens, be sure to sign up. And if you're listening afterwards, sign up anyway, because I'll be sending the replay out for a few days afterwards. And I've just started doing a masterclass every month. I don't know how long I'm going to continue, but whenever you hear this episode, you should go ahead and sign up as well, because who knows when the next masterclass will be. These masterclasses are free. And especially this month, December 2023, I'm really glad to offer it in the gesture of a gift. This is my holiday gift to you and your spouse, and I hope you sign up. It's free, and it will be a very rich exploration of how to use the holidays as a time to build more connection, feel closer, enjoy more holiday passion. The link to sign up is alexandrastockwell.com/masterclass. And the link is in the show notes, so it'll be very easy to find there. But again, it's alexandrastockwell.com/masterclass. Now back to this question of whether or not, when you think back on your memories of the holiday season, of Decembers and years gone by, do you feel closer and more connected with one another, or not really, because it's just such a stressful time? Well, if you want to change that, certainly join me for the masterclass. And also, I'm going to give you a lot of things to implement in this episode. Now, in the masterclass, I'm going to be specifically focused on the holiday season and the unique stressors that can make it very challenging to enjoy your marriage. So I'm going to be talking about that in the masterclass today. I'm going to be sharing ways to connect, to increase the intimacy and depth of connection and pleasure with your partner. However, these are things that are wonderful to do in December, but they're equally applicable any time of year, any season, any location, and any context. So let me dive in and share them with you. Now, let me also say that I have a wide range of listeners. So I know some of you listening have really wonderful marriages. You and your spouse live collaboratively. You make love. You enjoy one another. You learn and grow together. And you're very glad to discover more ways of doing that. Discover how to be more self-expressed, how to take your marriage from 8 out of 10 to 10 out of 10, or all the way to 15 out of 10. This is totally possible. And if that is you, I am talking to you. And you may enjoy experimenting with every single one of the modes, the intimacy rituals that I'm about to share. I also know that some of you are in devoted, committed, beautiful marriages, but things are kind of dehydrated, a little more stale, less exciting. For you, you may enjoy each of these intimacy rituals I'm about to describe as well, and just pick the one that is most appealing to start with, the one that in your marital culture would be easiest to implement. There's no reason to go way outside your comfort zone, but you can go to the edges of your comfort zone and start with the ritual that seems easiest to implement, and then you can expand from there and include the others. I also know that some of you listening have a lot of loneliness, disappointment, frustration in your marriage. And it may be that anything I'm about to share just feels like too much. Well, if that's you, take it slowly. If nothing else, ask your partner to listen to this episode, and maybe after doing so, you both would want to try one of these rituals I'm about to describe. Maybe you modify it just the way if someone is doing push-ups, maybe they need to rest their knees on the ground. You can amend any of these rituals to be more comfortable, more accessible, and then as you grow and expand in your connection, you can do them full on the way that I'm about to describe them. So my purpose in saying all of that is that I'm specifically choosing these rituals because I think they're available to any couple that wants to grow, and there's no benefit to forcing yourselves. Just start where it's comfortable and expand from there. And honestly, what might be the best starting place is just to talk about each of the rituals and have a conversation about whether or not you'd want to do them. That's a fine starting point. And if you're ready to dive in, here we go. So the first intimacy ritual may sound so basic, but it's very profound. And that is to embrace for 20 seconds. Now, when I say embrace, I don't mean like lean in the way you would to kiss on each cheek if you were in France. I don't mean a kind of sideways hug the way an awkward teenager does with an older person. I'm talking about the kind of embrace where your shoulders are facing your shoulders. Yes, you're going to put your heads on one another's shoulders so the rest of your bodies can connect, belly to belly, thigh to thigh, arms around one another. Because when you embrace with the kind of full contact that I'm describing, just the act of being in contact with one another in this way has been shown to reduce stress, decrease pain, increase connection. There's a whole collection of various studies done over the last 30 years, some more recent, of course, showing that embracing another human being for just 20 seconds gets the oxytocin flowing, the hormone that has you feel good. So sometimes it's just too much to be verbal, but you yearn for connection. And a full-on embrace will offer that. Now, as an intimacy ritual where you want more connection in your marriage, make a point of every day, could be in the morning before going to work, could be in the evening after you've brushed your teeth and there's nothing more in the day. But just make a point of embracing for 20 seconds. And during that 20 seconds, you can exhale, relax. It's not a time to discuss logistics or who's picking up the kids or what's for dinner. This is a time to quietly be with yourself and your spouse, an opportunity to ease back into your body while in connection with one another. And doing this for a minimum of 20 seconds every day will absolutely increase the intimacy between you. And in this case, when I use the word intimacy, I mean the many flavors. You'll feel closer to one another and more connected. So that's the first intimacy ritual that I wanted to describe, embracing for 20 seconds. And I'll just add that it's very powerful to do this every day for some amount of time. But of course, if you just do it when it occurs to you, then go ahead and do it because that oxytocin is ready to flow. Okay, the second intimacy ritual I'm going to share is eye gazing. I think of this as something that originates Tantra tradition, meaning it goes back thousands of years, as a way to enhance connection, cultivate intimacy. And there's some very interesting studies about this too. But actually, let me just describe. It consists of sitting comfortably or standing, and each of you look at one another. You face one another, and you look at your spouse, and your spouse looks at you. There's a little bit more to it, but eye gazing is a very accurate description. There's no double entendre. You're just looking at one another, gazing in one another's eyes. And as I say, there are a number of very interesting studies looking at different benefits of eye gazing. One is that the longer someone stares at someone else's face, the more attracted they feel to it. It has been shown to increase the feeling of connection. And when it feels like there's a distance between the two of you, eye gazing can close that distance. Now, the way to do this is to set a timer. And I like to start very, very simply. So you could start with 10 seconds and build your way up to 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 2 minutes if you are particularly high achieving. But the benefits certainly come with 30 seconds of eye gazing. And so you start the timer, you gaze into one another's eyes, and you continue to do that until the timer goes off. Super straightforward. However, one of the reasons that I'm including eye gazing in these intimacy rituals today is because typically the experience is very confronting. Oh, yes, it's nice. The poets would write about gazing into one another's eyes. But if you're in a long-term committed relationship, and you want more connection. No matter how much you already have, you want more connection. Typically, what happens with eye gazing is all of your stories and projections slowly reveal themselves to one another. If you are eye gazing with your spouse and the thoughts that come into your mind are, I wonder what he's thinking about. I wonder if she actually wants to be doing this. Why are his eyebrows furrowed? Is she actually feeling frustrated with me? You might have a wave of sadness. You might feel like hiding. You might feel really raw and vulnerable. You might be fascinated by what you're looking at, but one of the things about eye gazing, which is so profound for each person who does this with intentionality, is that there's such a beautiful opportunity to become more aware of how it feels to both have your attention on your spouse whom you're gazing at, while also deeply having your attention on yourself and your internal experience and whatever is happening in your heart and mind. This is a very profound experience when you really allow the fullness of it to happen, because it just reveals, as I say, the stories you're making up in your head and the projections and the insecurities, and you can just breathe through it. And the more often you do this, the more equanimity, peacefulness, and open-hearted connection you will access. So, intimacy rituals include embracing for 20 seconds, eye gazing for some amount of time that you determine. And then the third intimacy ritual is one that I actually shared in the masterclass that I taught in November, which is something that my husband and I do specifically when our lives are really busy, when there's so much going on and we don't have like leisurely time to just connect and enjoy one another. This is a very profound, efficient, and delightful way that we have to connect with one another each day. And it consists of, in our case, 9 p.m., we make a point of finding one another. It's not all on him and it's not all on me, but we find one another at 9 p.m. And one of us will ask the other, tell me something important from your day. And after the answer is given, the question is asked in the other direction. And something about this, which is so remarkable and fun, is that I never know what he's going to say. He may tell me something about work. He may tell me about a spiritual insight he's had. He may tell me about a concern for one of our children. He may tell me how much he appreciates being married to me and how he was thinking about that on his commute. Like, things can be sad, things can be big, things can be small. I never know what he's going to say. So no matter how well I know my husband, I cannot predict his response to this question, which makes it fascinating and exciting. And of course, it's vice versa. So I want to point out that these three intimacy rituals, embracing for at least 20 seconds, eye gazing, and asking one another what's something important from your day today, those are all three things that they certainly could happen in the bedroom, but they aren't inherently bedroom activities. There's no particular reason that you need your clothes off while doing these three intimacy rituals. However, as I'm fond of saying, in a long-term committed relationship, anything which isn't sex functions as foreplay. And these are three rituals which absolutely build emotional intimacy in the moment that it's happening. And they also function as a kind of lubricant for your connection that just make it more likely that you have more sensual and erotic intimacy as well. If you have big blocks in that area, this is not likely to completely resolve them. But if you enjoy having sex and it just doesn't happen that often, or it isn't as profound an experience as you wish, these are intimacy rituals that will contribute to making that happen. Now, I want to also give you an intimacy ritual to do in the bedroom. You can do it wherever you want. You can do it on the kitchen counter. But what I mean is one that's more explicitly sensual, sexual, and erotic. And this intimacy ritual consists of one of you is in a position to receive and the other one to give. And I highly recommend that you take turns in the different roles, but not all on the same day or the same evening, but for any given evening, one person will be receiving and one person will be giving. And the person who's receiving has a blindfold on, and the person who's giving, you'll again set a timer for however long it's going to be. You could start with 10 minutes, do as much as, as short or as long as you want. But the importance of the timer in all of these rituals, except the conversational one with the question of tell me something important from your day. But in terms of the embrace, the eye gazing, and the ritual that I'm about to share, the significance of the timer is it makes a very clear container, a clear beginning and a clear end. And it actually will help you both to really relax into the experience fully, because when the timer goes off, it will end and you're not going to wonder like, oh, is this going to be an hour? Is this about to end this second? Like there's just a kind of clarity for your conscious mind that allows your body to relax and enjoy the experience more. So timers can feel sort of awkward if you're not used to using them with your beloved, but they really can heighten the experience if it's new terrain to do these kinds of exercises. So anyway, the person who's giving is going to set the timer, and then the person giving can use various objects in your home. A feather, a rope, a spatula, a back scratcher, a soft pillow, the bottom of a slipper, a toothbrush, literally anything. And picking one item at a time, you can touch your partner's body. And the partner with the blindfold on gets to just receive the sensations. Now, because of the blindfold, those sensations are going to be more intense. So when you're in the giver position, move slowly. If you're inclined to move your hand quickly on your spouse's face, do it so much more slowly so that your spouse can actually enjoy the whole experience and it doesn't move too quickly to be able to keep up with the sensations. And that's what this intimacy ritual is. You have a timer, you collect a few objects that the person receiving doesn't see. The blindfold goes on, and then you, with sacredness and intensity in right measure according to how the two of you enjoy touching one another, you use these different sensations, and it's a very rich experience. I've never had a couple, I've assigned this to my private clients, and I've never had a couple come back and say, oh, we didn't like that. They always do. And actually, one of the things that really enhances this experience is having a high quality blindfold. If you just take a bandana and tie it around, it's like it can creep up, at the bottom, or there's a knot on behind your head that's uncomfortable. So there's a particular blindfold that I really love that is very easy to use and very reliable and very comfortable. And so I'm going to have a link to that blindfold in the show notes. And if you want to try this intimacy ritual, you don't need to wait until you get it, but you should have it quickly if you order it on Amazon. And I really highly recommend that you include this quality blindfold in your bedroom accoutrement. I want to say something that I actually might have said beforehand, but I'm going to say it now because it'll make a lot of sense to you. With each of these intimacy rituals, including embracing for at least 20 seconds, eye gazing, asking one another what's something important from your day, and having the masked exploration of sensual experiences. In all of these cases, well, the hugging might be an exception, but with all the rest of them, don't just do them. Don't just say to yourself, well, I want more intimacy, so let me do them. These all benefit tremendously from having a conversation with your spouse and being intentional. Having a conversation where you decide, yes, let's together build the intimacy and connection in our relationship. And let's start with this particular intimacy ritual. And maybe we'll include that one next. If you just, there are so many things that you can do to increase the connection and enhance the intimacy in your marriage that you just do yourself. And your partner, of course, gets to benefit, but doesn't need to be aware or participate. That's not true for the intimacy rituals that I have described today. As I say, an exception is the embrace. You could just embrace for longer and see if it feels good, but I really think it's going to be much more beneficial if both of you are aware, conscious, choosing this, and intentional. It will enhance each of your individual experiences and also enhance the connection that grows between the two of you. Another thing that I'll add is I recommend that you choose an intimacy ritual and decide how long you're going to do it. For example, let's embrace for at least 20 seconds every day for a week, and then check in with one another and evaluate, what have we noticed? What do we want to do next? Do we want to stop? Do we want to continue? What feels most appealing to each of us? With any of these, start and make a plan, not specifically to stop, but to assess and draw conclusions and tweak, because it's very easy to infer what the experience is for the other person. And unless you actually use your words, you may not know, or your partner may not actually know what you're thinking and feeling about what you're doing. And plus, you'll be able to creatively make your own variations with each of these intimacy rituals. So my hope is that you're inspired. If where you are in your relationship is just to have new awareness and raise your consciousness about how one might work on a marriage to enhance the intimacy, great. This episode is for you. If you are actively wondering how to take the next steps to build connection, then I highly encourage you to have both of you listen and then see what's going to work best for you. If you already have a lot of juiciness in your marriage and you haven't done any of these things, or it's been a while, well, polish them off and do it again and see what happens now with where you are in your marriage. And if you are a high achieving, high performing, educated professional, and you really want to be able to move quickly and deep in enhancing the intimacy in your marriage, in learning to be self-expressed, in taking your incredible leadership and problem-solving skills in the way that you are, whether you literally carry this title or not, but you're a CEO in your business, and you want to learn how to lead and set goals and create outcomes beyond your dreams in your marriage, well, I will help you. I would love to help you. I am deeply devoted in my private coaching to helping couples who are committed to one another and successful in their professional lives learn how to be just as successful, if not more, in the context of their personal lives and marriage. There is something so exquisite that happens when you take your intelligence and your vulnerability and the disappointments you barely even let yourself acknowledge, or the disappointments that come out of your mouth on a regular basis, whatever it is, if you want to learn how to create the most incredible culture in your marriage, which includes emotional intimacy, totally gratifying and exciting passion and erotic connection, go to my website, to the contact page, alexandrastockwell.com/contact, and send me a message. Tell me how things are in your marriage or committed relationship and how you want them to be. And I'll respond, because the most incredible outcomes are available when you put your attention on creating these skills. I guess that's how I'll end that sentence. And if you think the problems in your relationship will be solved when your partner changes, then I'm not the coach for you. There are lots of coaches who take that approach, who coach only women or coach only men. That's not me. I do individual coaching of men and women, but I absolutely believe that a relationship is co-created, and the exquisite up-leveling and erotic transformation that you may want, that takes both of you taking responsibility for your own contribution to what hasn't worked and finding the way to co-create something that really works for both of you. This is such profound, impactful, and effective work. And if I'm talking to you, then please reach out and let's have a conversation. If you want to continue to listen to the podcast, read my book, Uncompromising Intimacy, and you want to just get more, be sure to click on the link in the show notes and join my email list, because I send emails on a regular basis. Some is similar content to what's in the podcast, some is different. So wherever you are in your relationship, I really want to help you take it to the next steps, to the next level. So if the next level is reading my emails, sign up at the link in the show notes. If the next step is joining me for the masterclass on holiday passion that's happening tomorrow, definitely click on the link and enroll. And if you're looking for private coaching because you are somebody who makes things happen in the world and you want to know how to really make things happen in a way that creates an exquisite win-win in your marriage, well, reach out to me about that.